Is it possible to beat Balatro using only the weakest Joker cards in the game? Most players would say it's impossible. Common Jokers are meant to be replaced, not built around. But I just did it on a fresh account with nothing unlocked. By the way, I'm the passive-aggressive Canadian, and after hundreds of hours testing strategies, I stumbled across this perfect combo to make this challenge possible. But for those who don't know, Balatro is an award-winning poker roguelike with massive amounts of strategy. Usually, you would play the game to unlock newer, stronger jokers to make massive combos. That won't be the case for us today, however. And our first attempt showed us just how challenging this would be. And although things started out great, finding a few jokers here and there, all while crushing early game bosses, it wouldn't be long until reaching the second half of the game and really turning up the heat. You see, usually by this point you would have gathered a rare joker or two, but seeing as we aren't allowed, we soon can't keep up and get taken down. Now for our second attempt, however, things were completely different when we came across this super good combo. But first, let's go over how we got there. After our first failed run, we unlocked a new deck. This blue one increases the amount of hands we can play each round by 1. This in my opinion is much better than the red one, which gives only +1 discard per round. Now if you're new to the game, the objective is quite simple. You will need to progress through 8 levels called Antes, each hosting 3 opponents, the small blind, big blind, and the boss. When facing off against one of these opponents, we will need to play poker hands in order to accumulate points. For the most part, the better the poker hand, the more points you gain. So playing something like this full house of aces full of jacks, for example, is a pretty good hand. But without any jokers to boost the points, not even these good hands would get us past the late game bosses, which is where the shop comes in. After each round, we can spend the money that we earn to grab whatever we want from here. And this is exactly the type of joker we're looking for. This walkie-talkie is actually what we're going to be basing our main strategy around. All played 10s and 4s will increase chips by 10 and the mult by 4. Now each hand type has a base amount of chips, the blue side, and mult, the red side. The better the hand, the higher the base numbers are. In order to get a solid combo going, you want to increase both of these numbers any way that you can. Later on, you'll see how we do some sneaky manipulation with this walkie-talkie to really pop off. But before we get to that, we'll need to get through these earlier antes first. And look what we have here. Planet cards are going to be quite crucial to our success in this run as well. This Earth card here increases the level of our full house. And after using it for the extra level, we head into our first boss battle against the Hook. This guy isn't too tough yet. We're able to cruise through with just a flush and a K9 straight. But things are about to get interesting. For Ante 2, we switch things up a little bit. We actually skip round 4 completely. Why? For this economy tag which doubles our money. Skipping rounds means no money and no shop access. Sounds crazy, right? But you know what? We're skipping round 5 too. This speed tag gives us plus $5 per skipped round, which would be more money than if we fought this big blind. This might seem insane, skipping rounds when we should be improving our deck. But for now, building our base economy is a risk I'm willing to take. Now for the club boss. As you can see, there's red X's on some of our cards. These cards won't count in scoring, seeing as the boss has debuffed them. However, they can still be used if we think it's worth it to create a good hand. But we don't need to. Now for our first biggest mistake. We pick up this photograph joker thinking that ×2 mult will be great for us. But we probably should have looked at this ride the bus joker first. It makes a lot more sense to take this one because it gives +1 mult for each consecutive hand played without playing a face card. And since these two jokers don't really fit together, and our main strategy is going to be using 10s and 4s, we'll have no need for the photograph joker after all. And because we aren't using face cards anymore, we grab this Chariot tarot card for later use. These tarot cards are used to interact directly with cards from our deck. So when opening this Arcana pack, we see that we can not only use this Chariot tarot to turn this king into a steel card, we can also pick up High Priestess for extra planet cards. Now ante 3 is where we start to see things really clicking. The small blind is where we see our steel card being used with various hands. The big blind gives us a full house with aces full of fours. That's 4,500 points. These are the type of hands that we really want to make. And then we add 2 more common jokers. The juggler for +1 hand size, and splash so all cards count in scoring. It's actually kind of taken us quite a while to fill out all our jokers. Now on to our next boss, the Psychic. Definitely one of the easier bosses we could have faced. We punish it with one of our best possible hands, a full house of 4s full of 10s. Boom, 6,020 points. Coming up on the halfway mark, however, is where we're going to see a danger spike increase. There's going to be fewer and fewer one-shot kills. That is of course until we cheese the system a little later on with a spectral pack. I am pretty sure you will not have seen this trick before. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We cap off our jokers with this raised fist, adding double the rank of the lowest card in our hand to our malt. In ante 4, we really start leaning into our planet cards to boost the level of our hand types. We also add a blue seal to our King of Hearts, which is going to give us even more planet cards coming up. And ironically, while facing off against the house boss, we destroy it with this beefy full house. But here is where some complications start to arise. We can only have a max of 5 jokers at any given moment, and this jolly joker here is looking particularly good for our full house build. Unfortunately, we're forced to sell our splash joker here to make some space for it. Hopefully this won't come back to bite us later on. At this point, our strategy is taking shape, but as we head into ante 5, the scoring requirements skyrocket. So instead of fighting the small blind, we skip it entirely for this Mega Arcana pack. And it pays off beautifully. We use the Empress to create malt cards, which is significantly going to boost our combos for upcoming hands. But even with all these things coming together nicely, we're going to need something big because this big blind does not go down easy. It takes 4 of our 5 hands to defeat, even while using 10s and 4s. Looks like we're going to need to pick up this Mad Joker from the shop. It gives us +10 malt for 2 pair hands, helping us out more for when we draw short of a full house. And here's where we meet our first major challenge, the Goad. This boss here debuffs all of our spade cards, which is going to prove to be quite scary. Luckily, we start off with both of our steel cards in hand, ready to give us a multiplier boost to all of our hands. We break out a 3 of a kind of 7s since we haven't found any of our 10s or 4s yet, but it only gets us 4,800 points of the 22,000 needed. After using the Hangman Tarot to destroy a king and a jack, we discard 5 cards, allowing us to draw 7 more. And we are just not getting the luck of the draw here. After a couple of discards, we finally see our powerhouse hand. A full house of 4s full of 10s. And yet, since 2 of the cards are debuffed, they don't activate the walkie-talkie joker and only land us 14,600. It's a lot considering the debuffs, but we don't have much else in our deck to hit this boss with. With 0 discards left, things are looking pretty grim here. We only need a little over 2,500 points with 3 hands though. So we hit a pair of 7s with 1 that's debuffed to not break our Ride the Bus joker streak. 1,000 points, that's not going to be enough. Crap. Well, here goes nothing. Alright. Now, ante 6 is where our first run fell apart completely. But this time, we're about to execute a strategy that completely transforms the game's balance in our favor. And this is where we come across a little out-of-the-box move. After using a tarot card to turn this 10 of clubs into a wild card, we successfully pull off a flush house with 10s full of 4s. This hidden Balatro hand rakes us in 18,000 points. All that's left to do now is tip this small blind over with a little 9s and 4s 2 pair. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. What we find inside this mega spectral pack will change the trajectory of this run for good. As we look through the options inside, I came up with an idea I'd never done before in my hundreds of hours playing this game. Usually, this hex card wouldn't be all that great. A random joker becomes polychrome and the rest are destroyed. Polychrome just meaning that the joker gets an extra multiplicative mult. The same thing for this Ankh. It creates a duplicate of a joker and destroys the rest. But what if we didn't really care about our jokers? What if we've been collecting junk common jokers throughout this run and could do without them? Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's how you use these spectral cards. Start by selling all unnecessary ones. Then, grab your hex card and it will apply polychrome to a random joker. Next, grab your Ankh and duplicate said joker. Et voila! To cap it all off, we immediately rebuy Splash and add 8-Ball to our collection, completely rebuilding our joker lineup while skyrocketing our strategy. All just in time for the Ante 6 boss, the Wheel. This boss can actually be quite annoying, but with a little strategy, a little luck, and a beautiful draw, we'll be able to crush any threat that comes up next. Wait, what's that? Huh, haven't seen that joker before. Anyways, as we enter Ante 7, we're officially in uncharted territory. This is the furthest I've ever gotten using only common jokers. With our twin walkie-talkies firing on all cylinders, just having a couple of 10s or 4s makes any full house super powerful. But when we see this wonderful 4 of a kind of 4s, we had to pass it up because we hadn't been leveling up that type of hand. The 3 of a kind will do. Topped off with a nice full house of 4s full of aces is really just a cherry on top. But although we're kind of crushing through Ante 7, none of these hands are really one-shotting any of these blinds. If we get too reckless, we might find ourselves in a bad situation. So adding this Supernova Joker will really help in bolstering our main strategy. I'll get to why in just a moment. For now, we get to face what I consider to be the easiest boss in Balatro, the Serpent. After each played hand or discard, we always draw 3 cards. So what I do every time I encounter it is simply use all my discards to discard 1 card at a time. Now look at all these cards we have to work with. As for the Supernova Joker, it adds +1 to mult per time that we played the particular hand this run. For example, we've played a lot of full houses this run. So when playing this 4s full of 9s, we get an extra +14 mult. Ooh, so close to one-shotting. Time to tip it over with a regular full house, I guess. Now as we enter the final ante, all that stands between us and victory is 3 more blinds. The difficulty spike is high here, so we'll still need to be somewhat cautious. Luckily, we find this Gros Michel Banana Joker for +15 mult. It might self-destruct, but hey, it's only 16% chance, so it should be good. Really? Come on, man. I guess we'll have to get this Mystic Summit Joker to replace it then. It gives +15 mult also. It just requires us to have no more discards available. We also grabbed this voucher, Director's Cut, because when I saw the boss blind we were up against earlier, there was no way I was going to risk the entire run facing the Cerulean Bell. If it forced us into not being able to do full houses, I doubt we'd be able to hit 100k. But anyways, our penultimate round goes pretty smoothly. With just 3 hands played, we managed to get to 99k. All that's left now is to hopefully get a good roll on a new boss. We gather some final supplies, and find ourselves in front of our final challenge. Oh, Verdant Leaf? Easy. All it does is debuff our cards until a joker is sold. Seeing as we aren't attached to all of our common jokers, we can easily take this boss down. We start things off with an aces full of 10s full house. Halfway there, we follow that up with a discard and hit it with a small 2 pair of jacks and 5s. We're just gearing up for a major 10s and 4s full house. And after one more discard, we get just what we were looking for. A glorious victory. I honestly didn't think it would have been that easy. This deck actually went on to reach Ante 10, losing only to the boss that needs over 1 million points to beat. Well, there you have it. Let me know in the comments if you want to see an uncommon Jokers only run. Spoiler alert, I've done some tests and it's a lot harder. But if you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend checking this one out where I only use common items in Brotato. Same concept, different game. Take it easy.